Well, aren't you a silly little chap? So, because the writers, one of the writers of the Bible, well, that's what you think. Anyway, you have to remember the Bible you're reading is probably the King James Version, first translated in the Middle Ages, or Dark Ages, what do you want to call them, during the times of kings and knights and such. I believe it was the 14th, 15th century when they started doing that. Gutenberg had a translation that he printed in the 1600s, early 1624. Remember that. Okay. Copernicus figured out the Earth was spherical way before a lot of other people did. Wasn't that hard to figure out? There was an Egyptian who was in Alexandria looking over some manuscripts in about 600 AD. And he had noticed that his, the one part where he was walking around, his shadow couldn't be seen. He couldn't see a shadow. He's wondering, why the heck? Why can't I see my shadow? Then as he traveled north, he noticed his shadow got in place and longer and longer. Well, he couldn't figure out why this would be, except for the light source was different. Yes, there were intelligent people way back then, okay? Which is why maybe, according to your book, the Bible, you have Adam and Eve being told and punished for eating of the fruit of knowledge. Now, all this says to me is that your superhero wanted everybody stupid and barefoot in the kitchen, so to speak. He didn't want us to have any knowledge. He didn't want us to be smart or to question him, right? Or them, I should say, because I think if you looked at your first chapter of Genesis, when it says in there, I am God, and God I am, I make this, that, that. And it says, we make man in our image. In our image do we make him. Now, your next excuse for that is going to be, but there's a Trinity. Right? I've heard that one before. And you bring up the fact that some guy might have known that the earth was spherical. And you say it's always been in the Bible that way. Well, that's not true. Only in that version you have, which was written in modern times. And they're naturally going to translate. Well, you're stupid. You can't even extrapolate that little thing. You can't even sit there and take and deduce and figure out, oh, well, it must have been a modern person who wrote this, because it's a copy. It's not word for word, I guarantee it. You probably go down to Barnes & Noble and get 100 different copies of a Bible that say different stuff in it. So, you'll figure, right? Anyway, so that sure proves it. Your God exists because you had a smart guy a couple thousand years ago that figured things out. So, automatically, God did it. It's so stupid. You know, what was the other one? He stretched out the skies in the north and let the earth hang in space over nothing. Now, how do they know it's hanging in space? That's impossible. No, it isn't. If you have a telescope, you can kind of tell. It's pretty easy to figure out if you have any brains. Where do you think all this stuff came from? You think the person that discovered, like Galileo, do you think he just discovered, automatically saw something he was put up to? These are things that come up in their heads. And they figure this out in their head or on paper before they even do it. He says, well, listen, we got the moon going a distance, and a shadow comes over in a certain way. But now that shadow isn't the same size as the earth, so it makes you wonder, what's up? And on the other side, the shadow is the same as the earth. So he figures again, what's up? And he experiments, theorizes, hypothesizes, does the experiment, does a control, and he figures out that, hey, we're in space. We're in a void with other stars and planets. And we're not above nothing. There is no above and below in space. There's gravity well, towards the well, or towards the event horizon. Which one? I understand that stuff, and yet I've never believed in deities and stuff. I was born an atheist. They tried to teach me that stuff, and I immediately knew it was hogwash. So are you kidding me? Come on. Like, catechism. Yeah, I had to go to Catholic school. Give me a break, will you, please? And when we got, go to catechism, they told us about Jesus going to the wedding, finding that they have only water, and only wine left to celebrate this wondrous occasion, his daughter getting married. So this Messiah of yours turns water into wine for all these alcoholics. And I raised my hand and said, Jesus is the Son of God. I don't think he'd give a bunch of wine to everybody. My dad drinks wine, and it's poison. My mom says so, and he gets mean. I don't think he'd do that. Did he do that? And I got in trouble. Big trouble. From then on, I knew I was an atheist, just because it didn't make sense. None of it makes sense. It's not real. It's not necessary. Like the thing about y'all think that just because you don't know right from wrong, you have to have some superhero tell you how to act. Me, I already know right from wrong. It's common sense to realize that and to understand that you shouldn't go around killing people. Yeah. It's common sense to realize you shouldn't go around stealing from people or stealing from anybody or anything. You shouldn't treat animals badly. You shouldn't treat people badly. You shouldn't steal from others. There's a lot of things you shouldn't do. Common sense. And society have deemed these things to be immoral, so we don't do them. Why is that so difficult for idiots like you? You have to have a superhero, don't you? It's got to be the magic man. You can't just take pride in your own self-respect. Have you any self-respect? I mean, that's the trouble with the kids being told that they don't have any morals, that they don't know Jesus. And all this time, you're shoving that into them. They're demons, they're devils, and unless you give your life to the Lord, how do you expect them to act? The jerks. And you people are too nice. How would they get any self-esteem and keep them getting fat if they think they're going to burn in hell forever for acting the way they do? Huh? I don't know why people do that to their kids, but they do. And they drag them to church. They let some old guy that don't even know him threaten them with this brimstone and damnation crap. Are you serious? It's child abuse. Your proofs, they're pretty primitive, dude. Pretty stupid. All you've proven is that there were intelligent people even back then. Yeah. But you're one of those kind that, because you don't understand science, real science, and because you don't understand evolution and can't figure it out or can't get in it, then by default, God did it. I understand. That's where you stand. It's stupid opinion, or position, but a lot of them do that. Can't figure it out. It's magic. It's that simple. So, you're the magic man. See you later, magic man. You have a good one. You know me. Yep, I'm just an earthling. But I too am a magic man.